Hello, welcome to Skills to Pay the Bills. I'm your host, Tia Young, and we have a fantastic show for you today. I'm excited about our special guest, who is a returning young entrepreneur to the show. He is the Chief Technical Officer of the Internet Back Office Systems and Service, Inc., affectionately known simply as iBOSS, Inc. He is primarily tasked with the software, marketing, and background support that iBOSS, Inc. utilizes to support its clients and itself. Like most small business owners, our guest, who runs the company with his mom, Lorette Ferris, wears many other hats in the business. We're going to talk about some of these hats he wears and to also talk about three very important words: possibility, opportunity, and time. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the skill set, Mr. Cory Wilburn. Cory, it's a pleasure.
Thank you, Tia. I'm
delighted to have you here again.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, we're going to get right into it today. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, that you wear many hats. Tell us a little bit about those hats that you wear.
I wear the accounting hat, I wear the technology hat, I wear the onboarding hat, I wear the bill paying hat, I wear the money coming in hat. So anything and everything that could possibly happen is what I wear. And that's just what happens as a small business owner.
Right. Well, you know, with you wearing all those hats, what does your mom do? What is Lorette doing?
She is the front face genius of the operations. And so that's how our balance works for the business. She's able to go out there and close the deals and seal the deals. And I'm able to then take on all the extra work that comes behind that and making sure that our clients are well taken care of.
How do you separate being the son from being the CIO? How do you do that?
Family businesses do have that struggle of the divide. Fortunately for me and Lorette, we have had a working relationship for a very long time, well before we even got into business together with the iBOSS campaign. But it's just a matter of recognizing the roles that you have and staying in those lanes.
Right. Well, you know, several months ago, you and I were on the phone. We were talking about this and that. I mean, a number of different things. And you brought up three words, and we got on the subject of those three words. And I mean, I was intrigued by some of the things that you said, and I wanted to bring that to our audience today. You talked about, and this is with respect to small business entrepreneurship, you talked about possibility versus opportunity against time. And so I want to talk about that today. And I think first we need you to give us some definitions, because the word possibility is a little different than just the word possibility when we're talking about small business. So
of course,
could you start out with that?
Of course, a lot of what anybody talks about has different meanings when it comes down to small business. So when we say possibility, it's looking on the outside and seeing what others have done, what can actually maybe happen, what has come about from a certain idea. So it's following an experience or a trail. When I say opportunity, that's more of the driving force in what any business needs to keep going. If you're not creating those opportunities, or if those opportunities aren't presenting themselves to you, you really have nothing to close on. And then time, which is just never a friend of anybody, whether it be that you have too much time or too little time, there's always a consequence to the mismanagement of it.
Can you give us some examples of opportunities that might come up and people might not even realize it is an opportunity?
So, business in itself is a living, breathing entity. No more different than how you wake up in the morning, how you have to eat, how you have to work out. Businesses work, especially small businesses, work in the same exact way. So when I say opportunities, if you saw the possibilities of what another company did within your space to then grow to success, you then have to now unearth that kind of example for yourself. And that's the opportunity right there. That's the going out to meet with investors of a similar mindset, other organizations that are in the same space that you can collectively gather your skills to then expand. And sometimes even just through your normal day-to-day, if you go out to an event that's within the space that you're trying to get your business to grow in, and you happen to come across somebody, that is an opportunity that you're then able to close on. And you have to be willing to roll with those punches and roll with the changes that come with them as well.
Okay, so given what you've just defined in that instance, what about the possibility? How does possibility differ, or is it similar?
So I would say more than anything, possibility can point you in a direction to then develop and unearth opportunities. So again, possibilities to me when it comes time to small business is a matter of what you've seen others do. But just because you've seen them do it doesn't mean that you'll be able to replicate it. But if you don't take that chance to now try to pursue in that direction, to now create your own opportunities, then you're kind of dead in the water.
Yeah. Now you mentioned a little earlier about time. You know, time can be a friend or an enemy, so to speak. What do you mean by, too much time, too little time? What do we need to think about when we're talking about time?
Any business owner, big to small, will completely understand that there is always not enough time. We need the deal that we're working on to close right now, and we need to get that check signed. We need that check in the account, and that's how that needs to work. But there is also a problem with too much time as well. And so too much time, I talked about opportunity before, where you could have an opportunity for a potential investor to go on and invest within your idea or your business. But that offer is going to take maybe about a year. It's a solid yes, and you have non-disclosure agreements signed, other agreements signed, but it's going to take about a year for that to happen. But you already know that your business needs that income in order to keep the doors open before you can get to that mile marker. Well, now that you know you have a year out before the deal is closed, but it's not within the right time frame, do you close your doors? No. You need to go out there and find other opportunities that can help to fill in that year gap. So that's a prime example to me of a situation where too much time is against you. As we already know, too little time is always against you.
Right. So, but can you think in terms of, even though it appears that time is against you, that if you sit down and think about it, you can find ways to turn that whole situation around and make that time work for you.
And the question that you asked,
yes,
is the number one point of the time management. More so than any currency that you would have coming into your business, if you don't manage your time appropriately, then you're always going to be setting yourself up for failure. So even in the instance of having too little time, you can't take that as a negative factor to then try to rush things, because everything needs to still happen within its due time and its due course. And then again, the situation of having the too much time, it's great that you now have something coming into your organization that can keep it going or even enhance it further. But yes, you need to still manage that time appropriately in making sure that your already established tasks are being completed, as well as making sure that you're continuing to find more opportunities and changing with any opportunities that may have come about within the interim.
Right. What kind of tools would you say are available to help small business owners to manage their time? Because I talk to a lot of small business owners, and actually time seems to be a problem. I mean, some of them are able to close out at 6 or 7 in the evening, and there are others that are up 2:30, 3:30 almost every morning. So can we truthfully say that the person that's shutting down at 6 every evening is really managing their time well, and the person who's up, to all hours of the morning, that they're not doing a good job? I mean, how do you gauge? What's the litmus test for gauging?
Well, each person, I would say stress. To answer that question in one word, stress. The person that's closing their door at 6 in the evening could be more stressed than the person that is actually stressing about trying to organize their time book. The person that's trying to organize their time book has a lot that's going on, a lot of opportunities that they can possibly turn or convert into actual business. And that's the reason why. They have a lot going on, now they just need to manage it. As opposed to the person that's closing their doors at 6 o'clock, has nothing going on. And now that's the stress level that they have. They see other businesses in the area of the same type that are being successful, the possibility, but they are not, because they're not creating that opportunity.
Okay.
So I would say stress, and what it is that you're stressing on would be that barometer.
So what about tools? And I'll just give you an example using myself. I'm coming from the old school of how you do things, and I'm trying really hard to embrace technology. But I find that I still carry a manual appointment book around, and I'm also trying to go onto my device, my mobile device, and put the time in. And sometimes the two just boom, you know, I put something in the book that I forgot to put in the device,
right,
or vice versa. I mean, would I be a person that's on the verge of not managing time really well because I'm not using the tools correctly?
And that could be answered as in, how much time are you actually spending organizing compared to how much time you actually spend doing? And if I could, one of the principles that we at iBOSS try to teach our clients, the number one tool that you can have in your wheelhouse, again, from any scope or size of business, is the team that's behind you. Lorette is able to go out there and close the deals and create the opportunities because I'm the one on the background managing everything else that happens on both the technology level and on the scheduling level. And so now that enables her to be able to run and gun and do what she does.
Okay.
So in your example of the two different worlds, you can still keep your book, but then just have somebody else on your team that can then translate that or transcribe that into the technology side of things, in which a lot of standard phone-based apps work, and of course standard Office applications work.
Well, what about in situations where, you know, maybe you're a small business person and it's just you, pretty much? I mean, you wearing, like we talked earlier about you wearing all the different hats. What about somebody who doesn't have a Lorette? Or can iBOSS help that person that's in that one person office executive?
Absolutely, because again, internet back office systems and services. We are the back office systems and services. And number one, also, we're a consulting agency. So we still try not to promote one-man armies, and we can even assist in trying to develop the team, or at least point you in the right direction as to who would fit perfectly for your team. But absolutely, iBOSS can assist in making sure that everything is managed appropriately and that you're even looking in the right direction, because sometimes you could be looking in the wrong direction.
Okay. Do you also assist with business planning as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of companies don't know whether they are, you know, the kind of business they have, whether they need to move into a full-scale business plan. And I just learned something within the last year that a business plan can go anywhere from 10 pages up to 100 pages, depending on what it is that you're looking for investment money. And then for some businesses, all they need is the executive summary. Can you speak a little bit on that?
Sure.
How people can tell where they are?
Sure. From both the matter of the structure of the business plan and what needs to go into it, as well as just a review of the business plan that you already have existing, is one of the services that we offer as a company ourselves.
Okay.
To go on and save you the time from having to do that yourself, or the worry of making sure that it's correct for what it is that you envision for your organization.
Okay. Now let's say that you know, we've gone through some of the things that you've talked about. You know, we're understanding the difference between possibility and opportunities and time. And I've come to a point where I say, well, you know, after I look at all of this, I think that maybe I need to start thinking about whether I can really do this, whether I need to close the doors, or, I mean, what do you say to people that are in that situation where they don't know whether it doesn't appear to be working well, or they don't know what the next step is, and maybe they just need to shut everything down and start over with something new again?
One of the number one tools and abilities that you need to have as an entrepreneur is a tough skin. You have to have a tough skin, and you have to be honest with yourself. So upon doing that honest review of yourself, and you also have to be willing, you have to be pliable. You can't be stone when you own your own business, especially if it's a newer business. You cannot be stone. You have to be more like clay.
And when you say stone, I mean stone in what way?
You can't sit
where you
there
just
and say that this is the business that I wanted, this is the direction that I'm going in, and nothing's gonna change that.
Oh, okay.
Even we as iBOSS have gone through so many dramatic changes to then get to the point that we're at now because of the opportunities that have presented themselves to us.
So the opportunities can change the flow of a direction.
Absolutely. You may have gone into business with a mind stake or a mindset of one thing, but an opportunity that then presents itself. If you decide not to jump on it, then again, you need to give yourself that honest gut check as to whether or not, am I really unearthing, am I sitting on opportunities right now that are then worth me keeping my doors open? Or am I sitting here looking at other business models that are similar to what I do and letting that be the determining factor as to whether or not I should keep my doors open or not?
Right.
Because let's just be real for a second. The majority of business out there has probably already been done, other than your first man in kind of situations, which those are just tough within themselves.
Right.
And so with that said, you can't take the possibilities of your competitors or others that are in your same field and then just automatically assume that that's going to be for you as well.
Right.
You have to have those opportunities sitting in wait, or opportunities ready to go, or happen to fall upon you that require you to then change to really make that determining factor as to whether or not your door should stay open or closed.
Okay, got it. We're going to take a short station break, and we'll be right back after these important messages. So don't touch that dial. Well, we're back from the break, and you are watching Skills to Pay the Bills with special guest Cory Wilburn, Chief Technical Officer for iBOSS, Inc. Cory, prior to the break, we were, of course, talking about considerations for keeping the doors open, you know. Now I want to move to what about considerations for changing the business model?
And so for that one, I'm going to speak personally on iBOSS. As I said before, even we have gone through changes based on opportunities that have originally, or that had came about throughout the creation of our organization. Originally, we were just going to be a software support company dealing with time clock management, payroll management, things of that nature to offset the cost from like your security guard companies, janitorial companies, any type of organization that dealt with remote staffing. Okay. That's what we were going to do at first. That's what we were doing for a while. And so the opportunity that presented itself to us was actually the Jobs Act. Things weren't going too well with the time management services that we were trying to offer. The Jobs Act then came about while we were in organization. Lorette already has a wealth of experience within that field and that industry, so we jumped on that opportunity and changed up our whole business model.
Tell us about the Jobs Act. What is the Jobs Act?
So the Jobs Act allowing entrepreneurs to now be able to seek investment capital without the aid of a investment firm or brokerage firm or agency is really what as far as because I'm still learning myself as well, is really what the Jobs Act is the reason why the Jobs Act has allowed us to do what we do in utilizing Lorette's expertise. Because even though now singular entrepreneurs or organization entities can now seek out investment capital on their own, it's still going to follow SEC regulations. So it's in my mind, kind of like the Wild West right now,
Right.
where people that are aware of what's happening can now try to do this on their own, but then might be putting themselves in hot water. And that's the main service of iBOSS. We teach you how to find those right investments and investors and where you want to go and where you want to be, and how to word and structure your deal appropriately, so that way then when you, the business, sit down with said investment entity, are now prepared and able to do stuff on the appropriate track.
Okay, now does every small business actually need an investor? How does that work? Because I almost everybody I thought, well, I gotta have an investor. Oh, I gotta make sure that I've got $1 million somewhere that I can tap into. And I'm wondering, does everybody need that?
So now again, we're dealing with that word gut check.
Yeah.
If you are a lifestyle business, which means that the amount of income that you're generating from your business venture is enough to go on and satisfy you and your family, then no, you don't need an investor. You just need to make sure that everything is operating in a way to keep those funds coming in to maintain your lifestyle. Now, if you are a person, organization, entity that is looking to expand or grow beyond where you're at right now, then most likely you do not have the capital necessary in order to do that. And that's where an investor or investment platform or investment entity is really going to be your better bet. Right. And notice how I just laid out 3 different things, because there are many different vehicles for small, medium business to go on and expand itself. But the question is, what is the right one for you?
Okay, so there's a lot to consider, and we may have viewers that are watching, they say, wow, I didn't know that. We're talking about securities exchange, we're talking about the Jobs Act, we're talking about, terms, and so now I'm thinking, well, should I even start a business? Is it even worth it? Am I gonna succeed? Am I gonna fail? What would you say?
And so, in my opinion, again, tough skin, number one thing. Thought and idea would be the second thing that you need, and then just the willingness and the drive to actually get it started would be the third thing, because I would say, yes, you should absolutely start a business. That willingness and that drive is going to help you out with the research necessary to get it started. But let me just bust another myth right now. Okay. It is not difficult to start a business. All you need is like $125. You go to one of the business startup platforms or sites, that there are many out there on the internet, and you get your business registered and you're good to go. Now again, depending upon the type of business that you're trying to do will then determine how complex your thoughts or business plans or anything else needs to be. But again, that's that willingness and that determination that you need in order to get that due diligence in. Okay. But after you spent that $125, you're in business.
Well, do you recommend that a person just do that on their own, or should they contact a company similar to iBOSS, or a lawyer, or a CPA, or does it depend on the kind of business that they're going on? Because I mean, like you said, it's simple, $125, you fill out a few forms, but what if you don't fill out the right thing on that form? Are you a sole proprietor? Are you a LLC? Are you going for a corporation? Some people just may get confused with that. So what would you say?
Gotcha. And I would absolutely say, I'm sure that within your network or universe of individuals, for those that are looking to start, to answer your question, yes, you can go on and do that on your own. For that person that's going out there and doing it on their own, there should be somebody in that wheelhouse that, yes, they can call to consult on real quick as to, am I doing an S Corp? Am I doing a C Corp? Am I doing it as a partnership? Am I doing it as a sole proprietorship? But again, that's a part of that research that you're doing and trying to get it done. And a part of that research is now seeing some other examples, possibilities, of what it is that you want to get started, to see how well they've succeeded, whether it be in your area, across the nation, or whatever else. And just know that you then need to create that opportunity to happen. And so, coming to our services, once you have the established business and the established plan and such, we can then, yes, help you unearth some of those opportunities that can then get your business going, or maybe you just change up what it is that you're trying to do.
Right. Well, Cory, for those small businesses that are just getting started out, never been in a business before, how do they overcome the fear of competition? We have a couple of minutes on that. How do they overcome the fear of competition? Because that's something that will stop some people. They just don't, they're afraid of competition.
Partnerships, mergers, acquisitions, all of those kind of things can help you to get a leg up on what it is, on what your competitors are doing, and sometimes even a partnership with a competitor. Maybe you might look at them as competition, but then in reaching out to them might create a mentorship, somebody that can then sit on your board, or maybe you might have aligned interests. Otherwise, again, tough skin and willingness and due diligence. Just go out there and find other individuals that can help enhance your business. And now that's also you going out there and seeking other opportunities in order to grow.
Do you believe that opportunities are dropped into your lap, or are they created?
They're both, but you have to go out and try to create your opportunities before any are just dropped on your lap.
Right. And so with that, so what is your final word? We got maybe a little less than a minute left. What is your final word to someone who is looking at us right now and trying to make that decision, whether they go forward or whether they just say,
If you're in business right now, when you're wondering if you can go forward, you need to give yourself that gut check and understand if you actually have opportunities that are sitting in wait, regardless to how long or how short they may be, that you can then convert into a business, into closing of a sale. If all you're looking at is what others have done within your field, those are possibilities, and possibilities may not be enough to keep your doors open. So give yourself that honest gut check.
Okay, very good. Cory, I thank you so much
for
coming in, and I hope you'll come back again, because
Absolutely.
you've got a wealth of knowledge and I want to pick your brain some more. You've helped me out. I think I'm going to throw away my manual appointment book and just, learn how to do it with my
build
device.
that team.
Build that team, right. Thank you for tuning in to Skills to Pay the Bills today. The concept of time means everything to a small business owner. Give careful thought about where possibility and opportunity complements, or whether they go against time. For me, I believe that time intersects both possibility and opportunity. What do you think? Email me about your thoughts on this subject. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.